Right now, many Americans are extremely concerned about the U.S. economy. They're concerned about their job, their livelihood, their home. They don't know if they have enough savings to make it through a potential recession or a depression. Well, today we're going to talk about that because a lot of people have been asking, what do I do? How do I prepare? And what do you think is going to happen? Well, again, let's get to that. But before I do, all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So why are so many people extremely concerned about the U.S. economy? Are they concerned at the direction that it's going? Do they not know whether their job is going to be safe? Well, look at this. It says Trump says the U.S. is talking to China on tariffs. That's what he said several times over the past week. But here's what we know. According to Xi Jinping and China, there are discussions happening with the United States on tariffs. But according to experts, it may be too late and it's too little. We are now sitting at what, 245% tariffs on certain goods in China? Yeah, it's going to cost the American people more money. Whether we buy shoes, we're buying clothing, buying little trinkets, it's going to cost more money. Even chips, computer hardware, even cell phones are going to cost more money. Even car parts, they cost more money. Now, here's what most people don't realize. We are headed towards a recession. Now, whether we are in the recession right now or not, again, some say yes, some say no, but according to the reports, it hasn't been officially confirmed, so we are not in a recession. Okay. But we are seeing slower growth. Businesses are laying off, handfuls of employees. We are seeing wages go up slowly and in some cases not even keeping up with inflation. Inflation is likely going back up, especially with additional tariffs and price increases across the board. But what does this look like? Well, here's what I can tell you. First off, how to know if the U.S. is approaching a recession. Well, according to JP Morgan, we are like 60% there. There's a 60% chance we are going to end up in a recession. I want to read this to you. Look at this. It says right here, do you personally expect a recession? This is Maria Bartiromo talking to the CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon. He says, I am going to defer to my economist at this point, but I think probably that's a likely outcome. He expects a recession. Okay. It says, but then Trump paused some of his tariffs and Goldman Sachs rescinded its recession forecast. On Wednesday, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell shared the Fed's economic outlook. Despite heightened uncertainty and downside risk, the U.S. economy is still in a solid position. The labor market is at or near maximum employment. Inflation has come down to a great deal, but is still running a bit above our 2% objective. Now, I want to talk about this, though, because the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, he is very good with his words. He doesn't mix up his words very often. But he said that, again, I'm going to read this back. Despite heightened uncertainty and downside risk, the U.S. economy is still in a good position. We are in a good position, okay? But at the same time of being in a good position, all it takes is one small little tweak, like tariffs continuing, and we will see the pain. It says the labor market is at or near maximum employment. Here's the problem. We are seeing less and less people employed. Even though we're at or near maximum employment, that's great, but less companies are hiring employees. They don't need them anymore. So we still have several million people who are unemployed here in the United States. Some people who have just left the workforce entirely because they've waited so long and can't find a job. Then he goes on to say this. Inflation has come down a great deal, but is still running a bit above our 2% objective. It is. Here's the problem. According to many economists, if tariffs continue at the rate they are now, so not seeing an increase, at the rate they are right now, we could potentially see inflation at almost 5%. So double what it is right now. That would be highly concerning. that right there would push the United States into a recession. Look at this though. This is a sign that we are either very close to a recession or we're in a recession. Look at this. Let me know if you do this as well. It says, more people in the U.S. are getting lunch to work. Is it an indicator of a recession? Now, here's what we know. When people are struggling, or let's say when people are doing very well, they eat out, right? They go get something for lunch or for breakfast. They have $5 or $8 coffee from Starbucks, right? It's no big deal. They buy new clothes every single week. It's no big deal. Paying $30 a week for new clothes, nothing, okay? Because things are going well. But when things aren't going well, people will actually pack their lunch and bring it to their work. Look at this. It says, why are more people bringing lunch to work? Well, it says the rise in homemade lunches isn't just about convenience or saving time. Workers across the U.S. are responding to increasing costs of living, which include higher prices for eating out. A recent study reveals that 72% of employees now bring lunch from home at least once a week. For many, this has become a regular part of their routine. I have friends that, again, very successful. Not all of them, but many of them are. And even those friends, they usually pack a lunch, okay? Now, again, just because you're packing a lunch does not mean you are making it. It just means you brought it from home. One of my friends, every other day, he goes to a grocery store. Really, the grocery store brings it to him, but he buys a foot-long sub sandwich. Okay, he cuts that into I think it's half. Okay, and he eats one for lunch one day, one for lunch the next day, and he does it every other day. Here's what I think is interesting. Okay, the guy makes quite a bit of money. Okay, he's not concerned about that. But here's the thing: he realizes that his money could go further. His money could be used to pay down debt. His money could be used to pay for a utility bill, right? So many other things. This is exactly what the American people are feeling. This is exactly what I feel. You probably feel as well. That I could go have lunch every single day, but do I need to? No. I could make a sandwich at home. I could bring it to work, right? I don't need to go and have a big old meal, right? Go to Olive Garden or Applebee's or some fancy restaurant. I don't need to do that, right? It's nutrition. That's it. Just get you through the day. Now, here's the reason I bring that up, though. It says more people in the U.S. are getting lunch to work. Not only that, we are now seeing more people are carpooling. Have you done this? Let me ask you this. Have you made a lunch from home and taken it to work? Have you carpooled with one or several other coworkers? Maybe you've taken the bus. We are now seeing reports that repossessions on cars are up, meaning more people are having to find other transportation to get them to and from work. We're also seeing, according to a report I believe is on the East Coast, they are saying that more students are taking public transportation, like the bus, the school bus. They're taking that to school. Most likely because their parents either have to go into work now and so they can't shuttle them back and forth from school, or maybe they lost their vehicle. It just became more expensive, right? People are changing their habits. That's what we're seeing. But here's something you need to understand. If we end up in a recession, I understand a lot of people are concerned about this. If we end up in a recession, guess what? You can't just go and find anything because businesses are not hiring like they used to. Look at this. I found this article. It says right here, turning to gig work in a recession might be harder than you think. Here's why. If you are going to drive for Uber or Lyft, for DoorDash, right? You're going to work for some chore doing service site, whatever, app. It's going to be more difficult because as we see the U.S. economy struggle, more people get laid off, more people need the money. They're going to turn to a lot of these different gig work, side hustles. I used to do some of this stuff. I started out doing some of this, I pretty much call it gig work, which is freelance work, where I was, writing articles and resumes and stuff like that for other people and businesses. And that was booming. Okay, and this was right after the financial crisis of 2008. This was right after that. People were hiring left and right to write articles, to do websites, so many different things, right? Gig work's changing because now you got more competition. More competition means you have to price your services a little bit less until you build up that business. Again, this is just the start though. Here's what I recommend though. And I've said this before. This article right here, again from Business Insider, you've seen it before. America is about to become one giant yard sale. As we see more and more Americans hit, we see additional tariffs, people are going to start to buy and sell items that are already here in the United States. I'm seeing prices over at Goodwill and Salvation Army, Savers, right, Value Village. The prices over at some of these thrift stores are going up. You know why? Because they understand this is something people want and need. They can't afford brand new items. So guess what they're doing? They're buying used. This is where I recommend you step in. Where you start to sell some of the items you no longer need. Sell it on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, on eBay, okay, on Mercari. There's so many different websites out there you can sell your goods. Sell them, make some money, take that money, reinvest it back into more inventory that you can buy and resell for a profit, okay? Use furniture, use couches, pick them up for free in some cases. People will give their furniture away for free because they're moving, they bought new stuff, they just don't need it, too expensive, too heavy, right? I see so many people every single day on Craigslist giving away pianos because they're so expensive, or big hutches like China hutches, right? They're giving them away. They're too expensive, can't move them. Pool tables, same thing. Okay, I have a friend of mine who just got a free pool table. This pool table was probably worth $3,000 to $4,000. Okay, but all it needed was new felt. That's it. Got it for free. He's gonna put new felt on it and then sell it. Now again, it's a heavy pool table, but for somebody that really wants it, they'll pay. But this is why I'm telling you this, because right now we are headed towards a recession. I don't know if we're already in it. Okay, I don't know if we're gonna get there, when we're gonna get there, but according to experts, that it's gonna happen. A recession here in the United States is something that has to happen. Many younger generation people, they're begging for this. They want a recession to happen, to make cars less expensive, to make homes less expensive, because then they can actually afford the things that they actually want. A home, a car, right? A better life. That's what they want. And unfortunately, we have to go through a recession or potentially a depression to reach that other side where many people can afford the things that they've longed for so long. So we'll see what happens, but that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.